Bahamas, mountain back to Atlantic Ocean, upon me hills to 400, to educate, elevate, and promote. Yeah, focus on Liberia, for Liberia, Liberia, for Liberia, yeah. From Monday to Sunday, from Monday to Sunday, it's focus on Liberia. Talk about home affairs, in diaspora, current affairs, reliable information, history, talking about culture, politics, education, entertainment, business, sports, advertisement, articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. From Monday to Sunday. Focus on.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the special edition of On Point. I know today you are busy with the World Cup. I am watching the World Cup here in my office. On the big screen, it says Netherlands versus Japan. I got it on mute, and I'm going to be following the game. Wherever you are, put your TV on mute, and you can watch the game as well while you do due diligence. You know, when we say we are committed to something, that what it is we do, we owe it to you, we are committed to you. When we say rain or shine, we will be here to host and bring you the show just as we have promised. Whether it is one person watching with me, that's enough. It is me and you. That's what we call commitment. Our commitment to you and to our nation and to the people is supreme. You who have been watching the World Cup between the Netherlands and Japan, you could have been anywhere in one of the nightclubs or the bar watching a game. But we have kept our commitment. It is Sunday, and it's 4 p.m. Focus on Liberia, especially On Point. We will be here to bring you the news and happenings around the country. To do the weekend review, what has happened since Monday to the new week will start tomorrow. Between the headlines, we are here. It is our commitment, whether the NBA game, whether Liberia Lone Star playing, whether it is USA playing. If it falls on a Sunday, you can rest assured you are number one, and we will be here to bring you the events. If no one shows up, I will still be here. If no one tunes in, we will still be here. We didn't say from the beginning we'll be here only when 1,000 people show up. No, our commitment is to the show and to you. So without further ado, let me welcome Honorable Aliu Kamara. Aliu, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Gilman. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your commitment. I mean, the whole month of June and July is going to be fun. A lot of fun if you are into athletics, if you are into sports. You are going to be in sports heaven. So let's talk about a few of the games that have gone on. Let's talk about New York Knicks first. the NBA. I don't know if you watch basketball, but let's give a kudos to our brothers and sisters in New York. After 54 years absence, finally, the New York Knickerbockers became world champions yesterday by beating the San Antonio Spurs. Your take on, I don't know if you're a basketball fan, but your take on the sports as a whole.
Yeah, Mr. Gilman, I'm really not a basketball fan. However, I saw different pieces of the celebration, particularly because I didn't watch the game. And but I love the game anyway. But I'm not crazy about it. So congratulations to them. That's Donald Trump's team, and anything Donald Trump supports, I know you do support as well. So congratulations to y'all.
Excellent, 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 excellent. Talking about basketball, let's go to the World Cup. You know, this is why I like white people. Those of us who say we don't like the colonial people, we don't like the way they do things. For some reason, capitalism is like vampire, right? It doesn't reside anywhere. The survival of the vampire is on blood. It doesn't matter what our blood aid is going to get it. If it's in Africa, they will go there and suck it out. If it's in Asia, they will go there and suck it out. This brings me to my point. The white boys and girls sat down in Europe and said, you know what, this soccer thing here, it looks like everybody, even under the rocks, they like it. So we will go under the rock and wherever they have their live penny, we will get it from them and we will use it. And one of them said, well, how are we going to do that? Then the guys got together and said, so the World Cup has always been for the elite countries, the big countries. So we're going to open it up. Now we're going to include all the small countries. The guy said, no, man, it's not going to be good. He said, let's try it. So they open it up now from 10 to 20 teams. Now they are up to almost 40 or 50 teams. And you hear it in there, Carousel, Cape Verde. And today they say Carousel had over 20,000 people in the stands at $4,000 a piece. Hotels, meal, transportation, tourism, you name it. So I'm saying this to say why we as underprivileged folks, when we have the opportunity to tweak, to take what these people have, make it better, like the Chinese have done. The Chinese didn't fire one shot. They decided we are going to take over these guys. We're going to go to the best universities. We're going to learn everything they can learn. Then we're going to come out here and do something called duplication and replication. We duplicate everything they are doing, and then we're going to replicate it, and we're going to beat them to it. And they did it in 50 years. They are now almost taking over. What's wrong with us? Why don't we take advantage of some of these things and we just keep blaming the West, the West, the West? We come to the best schools. We get all the degrees of the world, but Kamara, we do not take those things and put them to use to get back at them.
Yeah, it's it's the double-edged sword, right? I know you're gonna drag towel on the show, but
No, you're watching the game, so it won't come in today.
so the Europeans or the Caucasian have done a lot of good in the world, but they've equally or even more done bad things than good things. But if we should bring this thing home to football specifically, or you talk about capitalism, I heard you threw a couple of things in there.
Yeah, take your choice.
Yeah, so football They invented it, by the way, England, I believe it was,
Yes.
and they understand their system better because their system work in line with their culture. They capitalize everything. Everything is about capitalism, and capitalism is something that is embedded within their DNA. But what made China, Japan, South Korea, and other people successful is they are original. I heard you say something about duplication. Well, not necessarily so. They came here, some of them to Europe, got the idea pretty much on a spy mission in the name of education. They went by what did they do was they transformed the system to meet their own. Because as you know, China don't have capitalism, you know. So it worked for them. They kind of tried, they tailored their knowledge to their society, their custom, and their tradition. What Africa have not yet been able to do is to trust itself enough and trust its people enough to invest in them. Now, China, for example, the issue of espionage is a serious crime. You can't spy on China, and nobody can use you to undermine governments in China. But in Africa, any government that tries to do well, that government will be undermined and mostly brought down. And I see people, most time try to blame the victim for being the victim, and that's the situation Africa is in. When you look at great leaders like Thomas Sankara, who decided I don't want loan. They said, but you need to take loan if you must develop this country. If you refuse to take loan, that means you don't have humanity. That means you don't really care about your people. We use this as a politics and as a way of taking you out. The man built most of the roads in Burkina Faso today that you still see there, that are better roads, were built by Thomas Sankara, a 30-plus-year-old man, and he spent 4 years without taking a single loan from anyone. The World Bank didn't like that. The IMF didn't like that. The European Union didn't like that. And the United States sure didn't like that. So we can see that going on every day with different leaders who have said, we will do this without borrowing money from the World Bank because this so-called capitalism really doesn't work. We see what happened in Tanzania. Magufuli adopted the same thing from Thomas Sankara. The current president, the lady, she continued that thing. She just built the Magufuli Bridge, which is well more than 3 miles bridge, without borrowing a dime from the IMF or the World Bank. And you must be aware that she has also been attacked on several occasions that led to several of her own people being killed by their soldiers because people from the outside were trying to undermine her government. So the goal is not by the so-called capitalism or whatever. The goal is not to make everybody in the world equal economically. The goal is not to make everybody on the same playing field, because if they do, then who's going to make who rich? It would take the broke man, the everyday worker, the civil servant, the how you call it, the middle class, to make a billionaire. And you cannot have 1 million billionaire in any country. So you need to put majority of the people in the area of condition to work and pay bills, and the bills goes to the billionaires. So the system, this capitalism system on the surface seems like it really works, but it is a whole, it's a clique. It's a whole clique. And I think people should look at it for what it's worth than just looking at it from the surface. But Africa is doing well. They just need to learn to tailor whatever they get from outside to their own society, to their own system, because what works for the European doesn't necessarily work for Africans.
Is where we are, ladies and gentlemen. We are talking about why. You see, I'm saying this to say, let's say you had Barrow and IE play my man and whatever, and you put in, you try to market the system. So how do you pay your employees? How do you pay the players? Most of the money relies on, most of the system relies on the system, gate intake, commercials, advertisement, sponsorship. Then you go there and the folks in whom you put all your trust to manage, they're letting people come in on the back door side, getting small thing. When you go look at the entire stadium is full, 20,000 people in the stadium, but maybe 700 pay legally. And then they sit around and say the league is not going anywhere. We are not taking care of our players. It's just like you, Mr. Kamara, you own a store and you be very sympathetic. So all your neighbors come and say, man, you don't give me rights, I will pay you by next Friday. You give it to them. The other person can't give me some. They credit all your stuff, they don't pay. Then when your store breaks down and say, oh, that man let the girlfriend business, he gave all his money to the girlfriend. They will never say, I contributed to the downfall because of the many debts I owe him. When the children were sick, I went and borrowed money. When there were no full credit rights, and now I can't even pass on Tubman Street because before you see me, I'm going all the way around. This is how we undermine each other. What is it that we have to do to educate our folks that if you are reliable and trustworthy, you can go back to Kamara tomorrow and even get more money if you pay back that $25 you got on time. Tomorrow he will give you $100 to do your own business. But once you be taking, if everybody took $25 for Kamara and don't pay, all of a sudden we all, including Mr. Kamara, will not have $25. What do we do to address this systemic? Let's limit it to Liberia. I don't want to go all over Africa because Liberia is unique.
Mm-hmm. In some ways, but for the most part, Liberia, just like all of Africa.
Yeah, but since we're not part of all of Africa, let's just talk about Liberia. What can we do? Yeah.
I understand, but yes, yeah. I mean, what you're saying, no society will grow when there are too many dependents than independent people, for the lack of better phrase. Corruption is endemic in the society mostly because people, the older generation, made it seem like it was a norm where people took bribe in the open, people paid bribe in the open with no consequences. Nobody could tell them that it was wrong. You had governments upon government that would pay people $15 per an entire month, and a bag of rice alone was for $25. So they were paying people during the Tubman Tower Door region less than a bag of rice. Okay, even though the minimum wage said otherwise, even the government did not implement the minimum wage until Ellen Johnson Sirleaf actually came to power. You know, until Ellen came to power, it was still $15 civil servant pay on the payroll, $15. You know, so how do you expect to not make corruption normal? So corruption became normal because leadership made it so. So I think one of the ways we can alleviate some of these things is by properly managing the natural resources, the government budgets, all of the government income and intakes, manage it properly and create a fair economy. Any country that will strive and that will look good and will present itself the right way in the international community has to have a fair, not equal, because there's no such thing as equals, but fair economy. What do I mean by that is, if I'm making $300 and my daughter's school fee is $50 per year, I'm making enough. But if I'm making $300, there's no enough public schools to go around, and therefore scarcity, the rule of scarcity apply to the private schools. Then I have to pay $800 in the private school per year. Then something is going to be wrong with my income, and so I have to do other things in order to compensate for the loss. So we have to, we have to create a fair economy where people can actually get paid and have some money left. Now, if we drop this to the football thing, it also applies. I remember in the 80s that we used to have the TV on, the black and white at the time, and there were Brazil and Argentina playing. You had Thiago Maradona on the field playing, but at the moment they said James Diba and George Weah were going to play Barrow versus IE, we left the damn TV on and went to the field. Because at that time, we still had some level of patriotism left. We listened to our own music. See, music like you said, Papa Kamosoko became a big music. They made a lot of money. Our musicians were supported. We watched that black and white and see them dance, get their video. We were more Liberianized. But thanks to Charles Taylor. But coming to the actual issue, when you talk about the gate intakes, again, all you got to do is digitize the system. If you digitize the system, the football field in Liberia are all public. They're not private. If you digitize everything in Liberia, including sports, you put all of these things to rest. If you pass drastic laws and say ELTV, ELBC is now going to be broadcasting, it's in charge of sport broadcast, and you take which again would be against a lot of principles when it comes to capitalism. You tell DSTV and other people you can't show football game. We show football game. Like all of the contract be given to ELBC to show football game. In that way, ELBC now can step on all of the international leagues for the most part and show only Liberian leagues in the country. People will get adjusted. I know some people will go to Europe and other places to bring the white people against Liberia, and that's who Liberians are. That's how we act. However, you can actually try this. I know it will be some kind of violation, but sometimes you got to test the water. All right. Sometimes you got to take some real drastic action if you want to change things in your favor. And to Liberianize, you have to do some of the things that your international partners may not be happy with or they may not appreciate. However, you can formulate it for it to look decent and unique. I think you should go ahead and do that. But for me, I would preferably watch Liberian players on a regular basis than watching somebody in Barcelona who doesn't know me and don't give a damn about me. I would prefer to do that. But how can we do this? And again, the private entities, radio stations, TV stations in the country have to be a part of this thing. The newspaper promote some of these boys that are doing well on the field that nobody even know. They're playing right in Liberia. Nobody know them. They play every Saturday, every Sunday. Nobody know their name. And when they play, when Lone Star is playing somewhere, you got a Liberian commentator talking about the number 7 man for the Lone Star, the number 9 man for the Lone Star. They don't even know their names. They don't know their faces. So how can these guys actually, as Liberians also in the private sector, play a role in promoting Liberian sport? So it's a holistic. It has to be a holistic fix. It's a whole range of things to look at, and it requires determination and willpower.
Well, Harrison Wole Jagba, he says we are misspoken. That government employees weren't making minimum wage until early time. That's complete misinformation. I agree with you. We might have misspoken because I know during dole time they said I think no government official should make less than $200, something like that. But we're going to next Sunday.
That's not true.
Next Sunday we're going to research that and come up with when we actually started imposing minimum wage And not when they announced minimum wage, but when we started enforcing it, that the government itself have been paying minimum wage. We're dealing with that. In the meantime, Harrison, if you have that information, please post it so we can look at
Yeah.
it. Thank you very much. This is what we are saying. Nobody has monopoly on data. If you have the data, there's no argument. Correct us, give it to us, make our platform better. Thank you very much
No,
for
but Mr. Gibbon, I can tell Harrison clear cut that in the 1970s, I think it was 1973, that the minimum wage law was passed. The only person who implemented it, in fact, even amended it, was Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Even under Charles Taylor, lawmakers are making up to $700 per month. Lawmakers, $700 under Charles Taylor.
what's about when Doe came in, he said something about people not making minimum. I mean, how did that go? I mean, I don't have the data with me. That's what I'm asking.
I have an uncle who worked at the executive mansion as a kid, makes $7.50 under Doe.
Well, guys, if we have the information, pass it on. So here we are. Let's go to, before we go to our topic, we'll go to the World Cup, but let's go to this dependency in the welfare state. I watched a debate at Columbia the other day, and there was a gentleman that the people considered, they thought he was radical, but he had the data on his side. He says during the 1800s, all the black folks, they were Republicans, they were progressive, they built it on Wall Street, they did everything. He said with all racism and Jim Crow and everything, the black race, the black family were doing better until 1964 when the New Deal came into being. And mothers, the welfare state came into being, where for mothers to be qualified for welfare, the father needed not to be in the home. He said that was the beginning and the end of the black family, separating the black male from his family. And I can attest to that because when I came here in the 80s in Newark, New Jersey, all the how they call the projects, they had children all over the place. The mothers were on welfare. For you to receive the welfare, you have to deny that you have a husband or you knew where the father was. That was the only requirement. So being a single mother was glorified in this country. It caused so much problem until recently when Bill Clinton came around and said, welfare as we knew it has ended. But yet and still we have some. So talk to us about the welfare state, because that's what we were in Liberia. And we're still suffering from. We are a nation with handout. I'm looking at here. It says Greenville City. Sano County is about to be lit for the first time in 30 years, thanks to the European Union. So for 30 years, our nation has been in darkness, the government after government after government cared nothing. That the European Union has to come and give Grand Bassa, Riverside, and Sino County light. Isn't this, we are talking about on the personal level, look at this on the government level. We just want the European Union to do this, we want the IMF to do this, nothing. Unlike what's happening in Burkina Faso, everything in Liberia, isn't this a microcosm of the society?
Yeah, but I think there's a twist to that.
What's the twist?
Well, European Union was in Liberia under Charles Taylor. They did not let Sino Country. European Union were in Liberia under Ellen. They did not let Sino Country. European Union were in Liberia under Judge Weir. They didn't let Greenville. How come now they want to let Greenville?
So what's the twist?
And the twist there is the government at hand is responsible for this. in partnership.
No.
In,
There's no part.
I'm coming now.
There is no partnership. I just read it. There is no partnership here.
I'm coming. In partnership, the European Union cannot carry out any development without signatory of the government. You have to understand that. And the government has to be the one to point out what they want at this time. This government happens to be most interested in energy. And therefore, the European Union is helping the government achieve its energy goal. Remember the Buchanan, the most talked about Buchanan conference. When they came out and said, our international partner, this is what they will contribute, and this is what we will contribute. That is the project that is going on. So these two folks are in collaboration. Now, if you ask the question why we haven't been able to do these things on our own, that's a reasonable question. I always ask that question too. I think if we can manage our resources well, you know, we can be able to do it, but at what end at this particular moment in time? Do we need it more now than we did 50 years ago? I would say yes, we do need it more now than we did 50 years ago. What I would admonish the authority of is don't make this a habit now. From now on, use this help, utilize this help to the best of your ability, take advantage of it to the best of your ability, build on it, sustain it, and so that you can stand on your own, your people can stand on their own afterward, and not to be dictated to by other governments because they give you a handout. I'm not interested in the handout kind of thing. But yeah, the United States stuff, I want to stick to Liberia more because the United States stuff has a lot to do with everything the United States does is planned, pre-planned for 50, 80, 100 years. You know, I mean, the best way to break down a people, a race, or an ethnic group is to split the family because that's where strength begins. That's where power begins. That's where discipline, morals, and output begins. If you break that apart, then you break that particular culture apart. So I'll leave that and focus on Liberia for now, Mr. Gilman.
Great. Our friend here is giving us an information. Mr. Gilman, the New Deal came into being in the 1930s. The 1960s was Lyndon Johnson and the Civil Rights Movement. That's correct. Both of those programs came in and brought massive public policy. We talk about the infusion. The New Deal was right after the war. Then we had Lyndon B. Johnson after the death of John F. Kennedy came along with his civil rights, and both of those things came about. And they saw the end of the Black family as we know it. But ladies and gentlemen, if you are into soccer, 7 o'clock today, our brothers from across the place, across the Kavala River, the Ivory Coast, the Cote d'Ivoire will be playing. So we need to support our Mano River Union brothers. This is what we are talking about. They are part of our DNA. So we have to go and support the Ivory Coast. The elephant will be in town. Well, let's talk quickly about the World Cup. We're talking about the ingenuity and the creativity of FIFA by bringing all these little countries. I saw Curacao just play Germany. And what a game. Even though they lost, but you could see the promise of the game. I saw Haiti and Scotland last night, and I could see the whole world was watching the soccer prowess of Haiti. And now we are watching Japan and the Netherlands. You are talking about countries that the Democratic Republic of Congo is coming on next. I mean, these are, during those days, it was either Morocco, Egypt, just the North African teams.
Yeah, you had Nigeria, Cameroon.
Yeah, no, that's later on. Later on, then Nigeria, Actually, not Nigeria, Ghana first. Ghana became the powerhouse, then Nigeria, then Cameroon, then Mali, and then the Ivory Coast, now Senegal. So if the vision was not to expand, you would have never seen the Senegals of the world. You have never seen the Ivory Coast of the world. So we have to give the folks credit for seeing the world in a bigger, from a bigger lens, where they know that the more people you reach, the broader the financial base, everybody wins, even though you get a lion's share, but everybody get a piece of the action, and everybody feels attached. They are part of this. Yes, we are in. If Curacao can make it, I think the population was 300,000 people or something like that. If they can make it, Cape Verde can make it, the Congo can, well, Congo is a big country, but if these people can make it, then anybody can make it. So capitalism is alive and well. Now let's talk about football politics. This going weekend, every African country, every black nation, and the whole world were Mexican for one day when they played South Africa. And you could see that what the Nigerian contingent say from London, from Great Britain, from UK, they are not in the World Cup, but they came to support Mexico against South Africa. The Ghanaian, the whole world. Ateka Stadium, 100,000 plus, another 50,000 outdoor, supporting Mexico. When Mexico scored on South Africa, the whole world went, wow. Talk to us about politics and sports.
This one is deeper than politics. This one is history. This is civics. This is something that will be in the history book for a long time. This is a wake-up call. This serves as a wake-up call to South Africa, that even though Africans supported you once, Africans can also isolate you. You are nothing without us, because you're living with your strongest enemy, which is the remnants of apartheid. They own the land, they own the industries, they have the economy, they have the technology. Regardless of their 7% size, they still run South Africa. Mafosa is just a puppet sitting up there. The white man in South Africa can turn the economy and turn the entire country into turmoil in a matter of hours if they wanted to. So you are not as strong as you say you are. So but anyway, we'll send you a message. Since you don't want us around, you needed us when you were in bondage, when you were pretty much in slavery, you needed us. Now that you're getting some crumbs from the white man's wealth in South Africa, you don't want us no more because we're taking it away from you. We too have the power to isolate you. We will boycott your national team. We will boycott your businesses. We will boycott your airlines. We will send your country back into some kind of an economic shock. The economy of South Africa in April decreased instead of growth. In May, in June, the decrease has become steady because many African societies are now trying to boycott South African businesses. And I think this should go on, and it should not be stopped. Xenophobia in the continent of Africa cannot be accepted, particularly when it's done by Black people. This is a continent that has suffered a whole lot for over 5,000 years. The Arabs took the north by sword, by the sword. The Arabs even came as far as the northeast in Egypt and eliminated black history. We're living with these pains. Then the Arabs decided to enslave the owners of the land, including black kings and emperors, were captured by those very Arabs and enslaved. What an insult! The Portuguese got ready, the Europeans got ready, they did blah, 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 blah. We don't even have our own languages taught in schools. Swahili is the largest spoken language in Africa. It is not a national language. You have over 40 million Yorubas, but it is not taught in schools. Look at that number, 40 million. How many countries in Europe has a population of 40 million? That's one tribe in Nigeria. You understand? So everything has been taken. And then for a black people to turn against other black people when you're supposed to be uniting to actually refound your identity, I think South Africa got what it deserves, and I think people should continue to oppose South Africa, continue to pound them until they realize that they cannot stand alone.
Thank you. Let me welcome Liberia's Vani Bomi Mame. I think he might be from Bomi County, Kidman
Yes,
County, Wapolu. They're the same people. You see,
yes,
they can run. You chase him out of Bomi, you run to Wapolu. You chase him out of there, you go to Kidman, and you go over the Yakone, that is it. You go to Bomi, you speak Gola. Welcome to the show.
yeah. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. So thank you. Yeah, we are multifaceted people. We are from. In fact, remember, Bapolo were part of local country before. They call it Lower Lofa.
Yep.
So yeah, and so I can exist in Bapolu. I can exist in Bomi County. I can claim ownership of Grand Cape County, the entire Western cluster, as long as I can speak Va or Pele or Mandingo or Gola. I can live anywhere. I can claim ownership or I can claim that place of my land of nativity. So, I mean, we are blessed. I can even go Bon County and say I'm a citizen of Bon County. So, that's how it is. But anyway, thank you for the show. And we are here to make sure we contribute our quota to national development.
Thank you very much. Today is welcome. We are all busy as we are. I'm looking here. I got a TV in my office so I can watch it. It's on mute. Everybody's watching. Everybody's glued with this. The next 1 month is going to be fun. The NBA finished yesterday. We're having a great time. And here we are talking about issues around the world, especially the advancement of soccer to almost every corner of the earth where there are people who can play the game. And we are seeing what a great tactician the FIFA folks are to find some of the countries names I never heard before, with small population, but having great impact. I think it's one of the greatest things that I was saying to myself, only if we could borrow some of the ideas and improve on it, we would be a powerhouse. But instead, dependency. We want the instant gratification. When we come to the United States or in the West, we don't take what's best for them, for us. We take their car, their brand new car, their cars, the biggest Mercedes Benz, the biggest Cadillac, the biggest house plan. You name it. Everything is about I. Nobody's innovative, nobody's creative, nobody's producing anything that will bring wealth to the country. So the cycle just continues. 80% of our money raised go to feeding ourselves. You eating your own baby. When people ask, well, when you go to build a hospital, you say, oh, the European Union will help us. The World Bank is going to help us. This person is going to help us. In the meantime, we are running around in circles. But just before we go to politics, those were some of the things we were discussing. Your take before we go to politics.
Yeah, you said it right. And I think I listened to my brother Aliu. He also he also said something that was constructive. You know, uh, Africa has the potential for the next generation or for the next century to dominate politically, economically the world. Why? Because we have the most youthful population. Two, we have the world's most abundant resources, especially the scarce ones in the continent. So if you put those two things together and add technology to it, Africa can thrive. What's stopping us? Disunity. What's stopping us? Corruption. What's stopping us? Selfishness, greed. That is what is stopping Africa. And until we can eliminate, dismantle, and disfigure all of those vices that are holding our society behind, Africa is going nowhere. And so, like you said, some of the good things that will come to the West and we find, instead of us replicating those good things back home, we leave them right at the airport when we get to the motherland, and we go about the exact same business as usual, like everybody else in the country. At least some of us who travel, who are supposed to go and set examples back in the country, when we go, we don't set examples. We start to follow the crowd, do things worse. In fact, we start to do things worse than those that are there. Driving, we get on the opposite lane or the outside lane, and we start insulting, we start running the lights, things that we don't even do here, you know. And we think like when the police make you got money, you say, hold money, hold $10, hold $20, hold $50. And we get away with a lot of stuff because we got money, we got political, I mean, we got economic advantage. So until we can change the mindset, when we get back home, we got to behave like we are being watched. Don't pretend to the camera. Make sure you live your life as if you are being watched. You know, the same thing you would do when you in America when the camera is watching you. Do exactly the same thing when the camera is not on. You know, that's the mindset we need to have. Am I doing this thing like you have your like always drive like you have your child in the car? Like if you want to misbehave, you say, okay, if my child were in this car, will I behave like this? No. Okay, then let me behave like throwing the dye on the street, taking the banana peeling. You eat the banana instead of you dropping it right in the car. So when you get to the nearby trash can, you can be able to dispose of it. No, you don't do it. You look left, you look right, no police. Say no cab, no cab, no I don't know, no cab, no stop, or something like that. They will take the banana, throw it, roll the window down, throw it out of the window on the highway, and say to hell with everything. But if you just have the mindset and say, look, what I'm doing right now, if I would do it when my child is in the car, ask yourself, say, am I going to do this when my child is in the car? No, I'm not going to do it. So, okay, then let me behave myself. So, until we can transform the mind, you know, we will continue to be lagging behind. And it just takes a change of mindset. Let's decide that today in my life, I would live for the next generation. Like I have made up my mind. And whatever position I find myself in today, it is meant to leave a legacy for the next generation. I don't care about getting rich anymore. I don't care about getting popular anymore. My interest now is to ensure that whatever capacity I serve in, it will be there to ensure that I leave a legacy for the next generation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for taking your time off from your beautiful World Cup. And if you are in New York, you might be either drunk, you partied too hard last night, but we still appreciate you turning in. And don't forget the next game at 7 p.m. this evening Eastern Time, the Ivory Coast, the Elephant, a representative of the Mana River Union, will be playing. So tune in and support our boys from La Côte d'Ivoire. Those of you who can speak your French, who lived in there, be thankful. Let's celebrate Africa and Africa football. Mommy, we've been this week I've been very busy, so this is basically a, a weekend review of everything that happened over the whole week. And there's so much happening in Liberia.
Oh, yeah.
Um, you know, like I say, it's like a potpourri or like a buffet. You can pick in it. Let's start with this drug thing that is not going away. This is serious business. I have never seen any investigation in these United States, in the West, or anywhere where they say we are going to withhold classified convicts because if we show their faces, the other guy's gonna run. That's what they're saying. As though no guy don't know already who got arrested. Everybody knows. This is why people are asking. This is very unusual. This has the making of suspicion that men and women of power, of status, of influence, proximity to power are involved. This is unusual. The people deserve to know what's going on. We want to know how the drugs got to Liberia, how it got to the airport, how it got into the warehouse for a whole week. Who was the security guard? Who received the drugs? Who peddled the drug? All of these things are things that you can reveal the names of the corporate people of interest without going into the details of any national security. Your take on the government's excuse that this thing is so big we can't reveal the name of the people.
I will let Ali go first if he doesn't.
Aliu,
Yeah.
you from Cape Mount? Your brother right down the street from Bowman said no. He would defer to his senior. Go ahead, sir. Which is unusual.
I'm from Lofa,
Oh, you from Lofa? Oh, Lord. Okay.
but we're all from the Kumba Confederation.
Uh-huh.
We come from the same townships in Mali and etc. And we have biological links. So yeah, you are right. But here is the thing. Mr. Given there's a lot of speculations and conspiracy theories, and sometimes I want to admonish Liberians. Let a pig be a pig and let the goat be the goat. You know, let the government do the government's job and let the public, the private citizens do their private jobs and hold the government accountable, usually afterwards. Just the perception that something has been done wrong or somebody is trying to finger something, they're trying to protect something, is perceptional. Now, the LDA came out and told you. In fact, they actually presented one person as a person of interest. Most politicians and propagandists, journalists, conclude that that man doesn't look like anybody who can hold such amount of drug. However, LDA have told the Liberian population that came out and spoke. It is the LDA that is in charge of drugs. The people say, "What, Joseph Baga not talking?" LDA just had a press conference. For me, they have said that they're going to conduct an inquiry, they're investigating the matter, and in due time, when it is necessary, they will come to the public. Let the public hold its peace sometimes. I understand that we're from a society where accountability is an issue. A lot of times fault on it. But my people, the LDA until this point have not done anything wrong yet. Everything that they're doing is in the scope of their TOR. They are not sure of who was presented to them, therefore they cannot present it to the public. At the end of the day, they can turn to be lies. They are trying to dot their I's and cross their T's. And I'm with you, Mr. Gilman, and all of you who are a bit, not sure. I'm with you because of the history. Okay? We're all hoping and praying that the investigation comes out, the result of the investigation comes out soon, and let people be penalized through the judicial system. But don't forget, Mame, don't forget, Gimen, that this administration has persecuted more drug suppliers in Liberia than any other time. And as much as not enough, something is being done. Give the man his flour when he needs it, and at the same time, I do not fault you for trying to push them to do the right thing. But I'm sure they're going to do the right thing at the end of the day.
My man, before you go, let me the other flower here. I ain't grew no flower. Let me read this one. The editorial from the front page African newspaper today. If you didn't read it, it said the decision by the Liberian Drug Enforcement Agency to withhold the identities of 6 individuals arrested in connection with a massive drug seizure valued at approximately $19 million is generating a national debate that refuses to go away. At the center of the debate is the simple question: why are the names of the suspects being concealed from the Liberian people? This is not merely a question about procedure. It is a question about transparency, accountability, credibility, and public trust. Liberia is a nation battling a growing drug crisis that has devastated countless families and robbed many young people of their future. The major drug seizure is therefore viewed by the public not simply as a law enforcement operation, but as a test of government's commitment to protecting the country from the destructive influence of narcotics. Where authorities announce the seizure of drugs worth millions of United States dollars, but refuse to identify those arrested, citizens naturally begin to ask questions. The names of those suspects are not significant details. They are central to a matter of immense public interest. According to the LDEA, 6 individuals are currently in custody in connection with one of the largest drug busts in Liberia's history. Yet the public is being told to wait while investigations continue their work. The agency has defended its decision by stating that criminal investigations are not conducted in the media and that additional information will be disclosed at an appropriate time. On the surface, though, the explanation may sound reasonable. Every professional law enforcement agency must be given the opportunity to investigate cases thoroughly and gather evidence without interference. No one is suggesting that investigators should compromise their work or jeopardize the ongoing operation. However, the problem is not the investigation itself. The problem is the consistency. For years, Liberia has witnessed the LDA publicly identify suspects arrested for drug-related offenses, name them, photograph them. Their addresses and details of arrests were routinely being published through the press releases and social media platforms. In many cases, suspects have been publicly identified before the matter even reached the courts. The agency has never appeared reluctant to disclose identity when dealing with ordinary citizens accused of possessing relatively small quantities of narcotics. Why then should a case involving drugs valued at approximately $19 million suddenly be treated any differently? This is where the concerns of ordinary Liberians become impossible to ignore. If a young man arrested with a few grams of marijuana can have his name and photograph circulated nationwide within hours, why should individuals linked to a shipment of millions of dollars be granted anonymity? What makes this case different from all others? What has changed? The public is asking these questions because history matters. Liberian people remember how drug trafficking became a major political issue during the years leading to the 2023 elections. The current Unity Party represented repeatedly accused the former coalition for democratic change government of failing to adequately address the country's growing drug problem. Opposition politicians...
Mr. Gibbon.
Excuse me, sir.
10 seconds.
Excuse me.
All I think reading was saying it. 10 seconds.
Excuse me, I'm coming to the CDC government are failing to adequately address the country's growing drug problem. Opposition politicians spoke passionately about the danger of drug pose to Liberia's youth. They criticized that they described the weak enforcement.
Yeah,
And
Mr. Gimmer,
sir,
Mr. Gimmer, 10 seconds.
yes.
That stuff that is consuming our time, we saw that. It's on the internet.
I don't care.
You did everything-
I'm reading an editorial. I know it pinching you, so you don't want to read it, but I will read it whether it took time or not. I'm going to read it. I'm going to read it.
Mr. Gimmer, let me tell you one thing before you go to Mommy, okay?
I'm not going to mommy. I'm going back to reading.
Oh, what? Okay. So here, you remember the $100 million drug bust that took place under your regime, your CDC regime,
That was
right?
2023. We discussed that.
Yeah. No, I'm coming to the point. I'm coming to a point. Remember that all of the guys that were caught, locked up,
yes,
taken to court,
yes,
for prosecution. They were all acquitted. Remember that?
Yes.
This authority don't want that to happen. They want to make sure I'm coming. They want to make sure that whoever they forward to court, the mistake that happened in the $100 million drug issue must not repeat itself. That's what's going on. Just be patient.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. The danger of the drug policy, they criticize this particular government criticized that they described a weak enforcement and promised a new era of accountability and transparency. The anti-drug message became one of the most powerful political weapons employed during the campaign period. Liberians were told that the new government will aggressively pursue drug traffickers.
And it's happening. Is it not happening?
Regardless of their social standing, political influence, or financial status. The message was clear. Nobody will be above the law. Today, those promises are being measured against reality. When the government rises to power on the promise of accountability, it must understand that the citizens will demand accountability. When political leaders promise transparency, citizens will expect transparency. When authorities announce the seizure of drugs of $19 million and the arrest of 6 individuals, citizens will naturally want to know who these individuals are. Mr. Mame, the Liberian case is very clear. We are not saying give us the detail of everything else, but we want to know those who are arrested. Period. If you told us that you have made an arrest, for you to arrest someone, you have read them the Miranda rights. You have taken their information. You have done all of those things. Those are now public information. Why aren't you naming the suspect?
Okay, so thank you very much. I have the same concern. You know, we've been around law enforcement for some time. Even El Chapo, who is the worst drug lord kingpin.
The worst.
Whenever he gets arrested, he has a whole cartel. He has army. He has manpower. He has money. But guess what? He can take a picture. He can publish his name. And the public can be aware while they're conducting the investigation. In fact, after 48 hours, he is charged. And so what is wrong with you after identifying the culprit or the suspect or the persons of interest? And it has been more than 48 hours. Up to now, the government is not able to release any information around the names, the 6 names that they say they got in their custody. And they're delaying, they're dragging. So, I mean, what is it going to cost the government just by producing the names of those individuals? Is it going to jeopardize the integrity of the case? No, it's not. It will not. Because if that was the case, why did this government disclose the name of Bokeh Raw? If that is the case, in fact, I will consider this to be a double standard. Because every other minor individual, any other little individual, the little man who has been caught in the exact same act, they would publish their name, they would put them in the street and do siren with them and parade them. But today, we're seeing the exact same thing that happened in rape cases. When a government official rapes someone, they have a way, this is a pattern of this government, if you're not paying attention. Whenever an official of government is involved, and I can bet, I'm not saying allegation, I'm saying I can bet, I can predict. When you see this kind of thing happening, let me tell you what's going to happen. it's more than likely that this particular name being held or this cover up has something to do with government official, and it's probably likely connected to the executive or maybe the presidency. But if it had been an ordinary person that has no connection to government, that name would have been out by now. So they say we should be patient. All right. For me, I'm willing to be patient. But if you just want to hide, and this government is caught every day in the act of secrecy, they do not believe in transparency. They do not believe in transparency at all. They do not believe in accountability. They do not believe in respect for the rule of law. So when you see them proceeding like this, it tells you one thing and one thing only, that there are big hands, there are long-hidden hands behind this particular operation, and they are afraid that when these names are disclosed, it's going to heads are going to roll, and they are afraid. So let me come to the issue about there are more prosecutions in this government than any other government. See, brother, I don't know what your statistics are. You did not give out any statistics, but I don't want to worry about statistics. Just from the face of it, if you are having more prosecution now, I want to see the conviction. I want to see the incarceration. I want to see people who are in jail, high profile individuals. Name it two high profile individuals of the government who were caught or who went through prosecution. That you can say, okay, these are the people that we can set an example on that was involved in drug trade or whatever. These are their names. We don't have it. But if you say that you got more, then maybe the proliferation of drugs is higher in this particular government than any other government. So that's the reason why you have a lot of prosecution. But let's see, besides the prosecution, we want to see people who are actually incarcerated as a result of after prosecution, they are convicted. We want to see conviction. But like I said, this is the pattern of the government. The double standard is very glaring. They're not going to disclose these things because, in fact, even the European Union accuse them of being a government of secrecy. And that's the truth. Nobody can argue that you cannot dispute it. They will keep the one under the rug. They will keep dragging it down the road, hoping that things will change. They will come up with another story again so that they can cover the other story. But we're not going to forget that this particular drug war, it is against our youth. It is against our women and children. It is against all of us. We shouldn't fight it cosmetically. We should be serious about it. We should be robust about it. And I believe that there's a cartel in this government that taking advantage of the president or taking advantage of the presidency. And the cartelization of this government, we have to go and dismantle it. We have to dismantle this cartel that is in the government to ensure that all of them are exposed, not only that they are exposed, that they are prosecuted, not only that they are prosecuted, that all of them will face the full weight of the law. Full weight of the law. That they are destroying the next generation by this drug trade. How in the world drug of a 19 million value will come in the country, get stored, get protected, reach to the airport, about to get on Brussels, before we will get to know, my brother, we are endangering the life of the next generation. And this thing we have to all take it seriously as a fight against the drug war. It has to be a fight for our next generation. We shouldn't joke about it. Anybody involved should be disclosed. It begins with truth telling. It begins with naming and shaming those who are involved. If we are even afraid to name those who are involved, I don't think the fight against drug will succeed, because that is the beginning of the fight. If you lose the fight in the beginning, you're not going to win in the end. So let them start disclosing the name, naming and shaming individuals. It will not destroy the integrity of the investigation. No, it will not. We have to be serious. Thank you.
Well, Kamara, during the inception of this government, the president said that he was going to put the people with the most integrity, committed to the nation, true patriot into position. In that case, the Deputy Director General of LDEA spoke. He says the drug issue in this country has permeated the executive, the judiciary, the legislative branches of government. Every aspect of the leadership of this nation has been touched. They are all involved one way or another. This was a man who called himself a patriot and wanted to actually get to the bottom of the drug issue. The next day, he was asked never to return. He was fired immediately.
Yeah.
So here we are, Mr. Kamara, a true patriot that said, if you appoint me to be a drug czar, we have to get to the source of it. The source of it lies in the judiciary, in the Senate, in the House, in the executive. Everybody has a client and interest in the drug trade. And for that, he was fired. Here it looks like his allegations are coming to true. It looks coming to pass. Because some of the names that we are hearing allegedly are all members of the executive.
Mr. Gilman, great point. There are some truth in what the deputy director said, just by standing outside and looking in. However, for his portfolio, we shouldn't have spoken without evidence. And we have an inside scoop. He was contacted by someone close to the president's office to give them a listing of those. You can't just say the judiciary, the executive. You're talking about individuals within, not the branches. So by speaking like that, that was a wild allegation. So he was contacted undercover to give names of the people whom he's not able to produce the names that he's not able to produce on social media or other radio station. Give us those names and we'll investigate those people. He had no evidence. He had no names to present. That was one of the reasons why he was kicked out. I just wanted to give you that information. So drug issue is in the fiber of the society. The executive is part of the society. The judiciary is part of the society. The legislature is part of the society. That doesn't mean that the government is trading drugs. It just means that members of the society has to be involved with the outsider in order to carry out the mission successfully. So Liberians are in every walk of Liberia. You can't just say that, just throw up a blanket comment. What remains true, though, is that this government, this LDEA in particular, has stopped the inflow of drugs from the hotspots at the borders. The focus is now at the airport. Lofa County was one of the hotspots. It's been months. There have been no drug activity crossing the border to Lofa. Grand Cape County was another one. It's been almost impossible in the last few months. There are no drugs coming through those places anymore because they were catching people there every week. And those things were announced. You saw them. Maryland County is another place. Nimba County is another place. They have done tremendously well in all of these areas. The focus now is at the airport. Mind you, those who smuggle drugs to the airport are no small people. They are people with connections. That's where the focus is now, because the little man put it in Quebec, put it on his back, swim across the river. They've closed that spot. But the big ones, did you just watch the news 2 days ago? South Africa busted drugs in the tune of millions to the airport of South Africa, I think Johannesburg Airport. So those who are going through the airport are very, very connected. And so I would not be surprised if someone high there, way up there, is among this list of people that the LDA has. However, I am willing to wait for their investigation. I'm almost 100 plus 10% convinced that when they are convinced beyond all reasonable doubt that they can nail these guys will be published for everybody to see.
Mame, this is a flawed argument by Mr. Aliyu Kamara by saying they went to this guy undercover midnight asking to give the list of the names of the folks. Why would you go to a public official that made a public announcement in the night on a cover to ask him. That is flawed.
You don't know how classified operations work. You don't know anything about security.
There you go. Now you're gonna come out here again and say that how they do it. That's how they do it in security. Listen, the gentlemen who were clubbed with the authority. Anyway, the Netherlands just scored on Japan, so it's 1-0 Netherlands. Guys, the next game to watch is the Ivory Coast and Ecuador. Is that Ecuador? Yes. So, guys, get ready. Let's support our brothers. Don't support South Africa. Nobody should support South Africa. We'll let the world know that South Africa is an orphan. You know how we treat orphan? Those children, we got no mind. No. But anyway, here we go. Mommy, the drug thing, yes.
Okay.
If I would agree with Mr. Aliu Kamara, yes. This particular boss is at the highest level in government. And this is where it is.
All right, let me just say to Aliyu, if this was the CDC government, was this what you'll be saying? If this was any other government, is this what you're going to be saying? That, I mean, it is astounding that people who are clubbed with the authority to protect us, people who are paid with taxpayers' money, appointed by the president. Look, those people work at the will and pleasure of the president. So their operation, their leadership reflects what is in the president's mind. So for the deputy director at the time to come out and say such a thing in public, they say one person will go call him on the side. That should have been a Senate hearing, a public hearing. That should have been a hearing of the House, both the House and both the lower house and the upper house. Getting information from that man should not have been done on that kind of close confinement, because who knows? Which one of the officials tell now, which one of the officials call him to go and investigate him or to ask him, send a security operation. You will never know. So the way to give public confidence in the fight against drugs is not to go and do kuku jumuku. Is to go and do public hearing so that everybody knows exactly what's obtaining. Give regular updates. Protect whistleblowers. Stop shielding those that are involved in killing the next generation. That's how you do it. But like I said, the cartelization of the presidency is in full force. And for us to dismantle it, the detoxification has to begin with the presidency. The president has to speak more. The president has to be robust. How many times have you heard the president speak since this thing started? Once about the issue that obtaining. He has some information. In fact, he gets classified briefing. Is supposed to get classified briefing every day, unless those are around here are sleeping. But he's supposed to get classified briefing every day. Who involved? Who not involved? What happened? What ain't happy? How many days the drugs were here for? What warehouse they kept it in? What were the police force doing? Every one of them, he has it. Let him come to the public and give some assurance or some degree of assurance and say, look, we heard about this drug thing. I told you I was going to be fighting against this drug. We have discovered a big boss. This big boss that came, people here inside will give you information tomorrow or tomorrow or the after tomorrow after they do the investigation. He has not said anything. Like he's scared. Say something to the public. It will reduce speculation. You don't have to call all the names. Say 2 of my officials or 3 of my officials are involved. Or some of the people that are working in my government, they are involved, but they will face the full weight of the law because they are destroying the next generation and they are destroying my government. I do not want these kind of people in my government, but we'll reveal the information to the time or will take action to the time. That it will bring to some degree the public will say, oh yeah, our president is serious. He's working, he's doing something, he's taking action. But he just said that he came to boo. It's unnecessary for us to come here and be begging our government for information when they got 48 hours to be able to bring those people to take those people then to the police, have them booked, and make sure that within 48 hours they are charged and sent to court. That's how the law works. But you're sitting here telling us, say, we must be patient and this and that. If our city government then they go full blast. or any other government, let's say ANC government or whatever government. And this is the double standard that we've been talking about. The secrecy that we've been talking about. It's killing the country.
You
Paid
know,
propaganda.
it's
Paid propaganda to come and spin everything, defend everything. Drugs, I will not lie. The government is trying its best. But for this one, they dropped the ball on it and they got to get serious about it. They got to speak up. They got to prevail. They got to prevail on the people who are carrying on the investigation to be able to give us daily updates. And the president has to come up and say something about his seriousness in the fight against drugs. Thank you.
so, my man,
Yeah.
the conflicting information, the inability to be transparent, is it confusing the Liberian people?
Of course. In
So,
fact, this is the behavior of the government. It's in their DNA to be secret. Everything about this government is secret. So it's got the public now. They confuse any information they see on Facebook. They're running with it. Thank God some of us are mature. Then we'll start calling names that we see on Facebook, but it's inappropriate while the investigation is going on. But we're getting reports that some of the people that are involved, they are close to the president, very close. Like the president hand is like two hands in the cookie jar. Like in fact, including his feet and all in the cookie jar. That's the reason why the public is really concerned. As long as they keep it secret, the public will continue to believe that the president, something around the presidency is involved. And the very people sitting here said before, they say when drug of this magnitude is caught, it has something to do with the hands of the presidency. That was their theory. So if you examine their theory and match it against what is happening now, what do we say? The hands of the president is involved because it's a huge magnitude, it's a big volume. I don't want to say that. I cannot say that. But it's working too slow to be able to counter drugs in the country. You want to be this slow? I don't understand.
but
So the
my
people are
man,
confused.
my man, during the week, a prelate, a primate, a bishop out of Nigeria said everything in Liberia was confusing. The government was confused. The economy was confused. The system was confused. And you just admitted that the whole thing is confusing. Maybe that preacher, we need to call him, apologize to him.
The preacher, let me tell you something about the preacher. Before I go to the preacher, something. Do you know the guy they call Japan? The Japan guy who was arrested for
In jail now.
very
Just
good.
go put in jail.
Wait, hold on. The person that investigated him, nobody said why they did what his name was disclosed. Everybody knew that Japan was involved. Why they were investigating him, right? All right. And today he's in jail. It didn't start from Joseph Barker. You know, Japan, many times he was caught. The court process takes a long time, and thankfully, it ended in the Joseph Barker regime that led him to jail. I asked you to name a few high profile drug laws in the country. You couldn't name two. You know, you happen to call Japan. But this is what I want to say about the pastor. Do you remember the United Party is very deceptive? Do you remember the lady they call Paula White? If you don't remember, Paula White is a prelate. She's a evangelist or she's a pastor in America here. During the election that Joseph Boca got defeated by George Weah, that election she was campaigning for Joseph Boca. She didn't even know how to pronounce Joseph Boca's name correct. Joseph Boca is going to be the best president. This lady Paula White, who has no understanding of Liberian politics, she was hailed. So, ANC Paula White said Joseph Boca will be the next president for Liberia. At that time, Joseph, we are beating in that election. They did not call her false prophet. They said she had her right to express her religious view. God gave her message, so she's delivering it. Nobody had problem. Now, a Nigerian pastor comes and has the same freedom of speech, has the same prophecy, and predicting something that might happen, whether it happen or not. Give the man his right. But what they try to, the very thing the man accuse them of, that they are all confused. They justify the man argument. Everybody running helter skelter in the Joseph Boca government. Everybody attacking the man, suing the man, taking complaints against the man. For what reason? The man is the same thing Paula White did. Exactly the same thing, in fact, worse. She was campaigning for Joseph Boca. They men were not campaigning, they men were giving him prophecy. They did campaign for Joseph Boca all through the 2017 election. Even though Joseph Boca got defeated, the woman was hailed as one of those that prayed for Joseph Boca. In fact, she invited him. Today, we got one pastor who did not campaign for Georgia. He did not invite him, but they saying the man is doing something wrong. But as, like the man said, they are confused. They don't even know what they're doing. Completely confused, inept, corrupt. And that's the problem. They say when you elect clowns, you get circus. That's what's happening.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the 57th minute, Japan redeemed 1-1, and in the 65th minute, the Netherlands scored again, so it's 2-1. We're going back and forth. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in. Mr. Elvis Morris, thank you for tuning in and keeping up the scores. I'm watching it on my big screen here in my office. While I'm watching the confused people, I'm confused myself.
Mr. Gilman.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not going to try to help the pastor's popularity here because
your government already did that.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that. I was even taken aback when the information minister had a whole press conference discussing this man. I do not think it was necessary. I know for a fact that God doesn't speak to any of the people. So
God called you a tree that don't speak to them.
that amount of people, all of them, God and said, "Want to none of these people." Okay, God doesn't talk to people, but it's true. What we not understanding. Mr. Gaiman, I think you have much more experience in this than I do. We have worked with several different managers, supervisors, different types of directors, and you realize that every single manager has a different style of management. There are no two managers that manages the same exact way. You got some who micromanage. I mean, you have different types of managers. I mean, your personality will always kick in with your education, your managerial experience, and that will individualize you. So when people say Joseph Burger is supposed to speak on drug issue, drug bust, and blah blah blah, Joseph Burger must speak. Mr. Gavin, Joseph Burger believes that he has an able attorney in the area of drug curtailment. The LDEA is responsible for the issue of drugs in the country. The Minister of Health is responsible for the issue of health in the country. He doesn't micromanage. He doesn't sit over agencies. He allows the agency leaders make their reports to him. He has those classified records. He read it. He talks to his advisors. If he believes in that record, then he take you by your word. If he doesn't believe in that record, there are certain pressure that comes with that. If he is not speaking at all, that means he's very confident with the information he has from the LDEA. People have different style of leading. One of the mistakes I used to make, Mr. Kim, I always thought that people must think like me and act like me because I thought I was so, upright. But that's not how people are. I realized that out of my 5 siblings, every one of us are distinctly different. So because you have a president in Ellen Johnson Sirleaf who will speak on everything in the country, that's not how you had George Weah. George Weah didn't talk about everything. He didn't talk the fact. Most of the time he didn't talk. Joseph Boga doesn't talk that much. He talks through his pen and paper. What we know for a fact is this LDA have given you a hint. We have about 6 people. You say, drug. You say, Japan. Japan was busted in his house with drugs. This one, there's one person pointing to people. This man, this man, this man, this man. You can't just go pick them up. So these people are cooperating with the police and the NSA and the LDA as we speak. It's a rigorous investigation going on, questioning sometimes up to 8 hours a day. When the people are doing their job, let them do their job. Everything cannot be about politics, my man.
All right. So I got a question.
Mm-hmm.
Let's behave like a team mother. The same Joseph Boga who you claiming that he is meticulous. This is the same man who, when the Capitol building was on fire, it didn't take it 48 hours to come up. So will you call that irresponsible?
No.
Was that a different Joseph Boga who was claiming that particular thing was an arson attack?
It was the same Joseph Boga.
So do you call that immature or premature or irresponsible or knee-jerk? Would that be
It's,
None of the above.
it's called confused. Ladies
None
and
of the
gentlemen,
above.
ladies and gentlemen, let's move to the next one here. Uh, this country is something else. Let's go to what's happening when we talk about jury tampering.
Mhm.
Jury tampering is anything that has to do with peddling influence, body language, contact, whatever, public pronouncement, anything. That's why when they're doing the jury selection, they say to prevent the jurors from being contaminated with sequestered. I mean, we'll put them in a bubble. They won't see anything, they won't hear anything, they won't interact with anything. So this brings us to our next point of jury tampering. So weeks before a major jury verdict where Mr. Kamara was indicted, and some said that he was going to be convicted. Just a week before that verdict came down, President Joseph Boakai honored Abdullah Kamara as a man of integrity. Today, a week and a half later, the jury found the LTA boss not guilty of the $2.5 million corruption case. My friend, Mommy, I got to start with you on this one.
All right.
If you have, like you said, Chapo, right?
El Chapo.
Yeah, El Chapo, the greatest drug dealer in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Just before he goes to court, Trump comes and crown him and say, you know what, you are a model citizen. They pinned you, gave you an award for integrity and all of that. And based on the signal from the president, well, if the president
Let's grab some water, man.
and yeah, you see, he gotta go drink water. It's hot.
Getting hot.
Based on the president vibe, the people decided, well, you know, some people say, you know, if the man is, if the president say he's a man of integrity and he's the father of the land, maybe we need to give him the benefit of the doubt. He was not found guilty against all evidence against him. Some people, on the other hand, are calling this jury tampering.
Yeah, so you want me to come in?
Yes.
Thank you very much. So I call this executive influence. I call this jury tampering at the highest level, at the presidential level. I call this judicial impropriety. I call this travesty of justice. This is the highest you can get in terms of jury tampering. This is the highest you can get in terms of judicial impropriety. This is the highest you can get in terms of travesty of justice. They said even the appearance of influence is not allowed. But this president chose at the time where he knew that they were coming up with a verdict or an investigation or a court prosecution was being followed to decide the fate of Abdullah Kamara. The president of all people, no other person but the president himself, went to honor this man as a man of integrity. What do you expect? This is a signal. Not even a signal. This is a dog whistle. This is a bullhorn. This is a how you call it a bullhorn, blowing it to tell the jury, the judge, and everybody else prosecuting that case that this is my man. I trust him. Who else supposed to have mistrust for such an individual? What do you think that was signaling? If it was any other person, you think the person was going to go and you think why he didn't do it for Samuel Swear? Why he didn't do it for any other person who was going through exactly the same thing? Why did people then stepping the justice in on one side? This is completely a travesty of justice with the president being involved. These are the kind of things that are supposed to warrant impeachment. That you will see somebody going through the judicial process. They have not completed the judicial process. You come and honor the person in public. At the end of the day, they come up with a verdict. What do you expect us to say? That it was not tampered with? It was tampered with. The jury had no other option, they had no other choice. And in any other country, including America, if that had happened, that case was going to go back on the docket and they were going to retry it because the president tipped his hand on the scale of justice by making that man public, making it public that that man was a man of integrity. And so there's the country we have, two standards or double standards. One person connected to the president will not experience anything like just like prosecution. One person not in the president line will go to court, even though he will be not guilty. The very United Party people will say somebody's tempered with the case and this and that, and the man will go back to. I mean, this is it's so glaring to the Liberian people that this government does not believe in the rule of law, that this government has a president who will tip the scale of justice in his favor of those that are his I mean, that are those are his surrogates and his patrons, and the other people who are not his patrons, who are not his surrogates, they are the ones who are going to go through the justice process. They will defeat the system, and yet they will come back and say, no, the case needs to go back to trial. But again, Liberians are watching. Liberians are not stupid. They can see that this government does not believe in the rule of law. This government has the double standard. This government believes in secrecy. This government does not believe that any other party person from the opposition deserves justice. And so we can't wait for 2029 to really to flush them down the sewage line into the abyss of history. Thank you.
Mr. Kamara,
Yes, sir.
in the middle of a judicial process, key judicial process, verdict's about to come down, jury is supposed to be sequestered. The president called the chief architect of the corruption case and publicly crowned him a man of integrity.
Yeah.
To many, it says, how can you juxtapose the state persecuting the man as a man of corrupt mind, corrupt individual, and the head of the state? The head of the prosecution team is saying, this man is the most incredible man with integrity. How do you jive those two?
Thank you for the question, Mr. Gilman. I think we really underestimate the courts of our country. I think we need to respect our courts a little bit more to believe that the president awarded someone. Therefore, even though the person was guilty or may have been guilty in the court of law, once the judge saw that, the judge turned the case around and acquitted.
Not the judge. It was jury trial.
Okay, the jury saw that and decided, okay, you know what, we'll go with the president. Since the president says so, we'll go with the president and we will acquit this person. I mean, that thought alone is an insult to the judicial process. It's an insult to the jury. Why didn't similar thing happen with the Samuel Tuey case? The Unity Party, for the large part, already ran Samuel Tuey guilty. It was said everywhere. Why didn't the jury make Samuel Tuey guilty? Because that's what was in the public sphere. And this is unfair to our judicial sector. The president, there are lots of things that the president in his heart may want to achieve in the court of law, but many of the cases regarding high-profile people or semi-high-profile people, except for the people from the National Census Bureau, have lost the case against not Joseph Burger, against the Solicitor General and the Attorney General of the Republic of Liberia. So we can just take one scenario and make it. And meanwhile, Mr. Gilman and Mame, Joseph Burger got first-hand information. Joseph Burger may have already gotten every investigational
President
references.
what?
Huh?
The
He said,
president what?
he said it's supposition. He didn't say. He said he may have, as usual. He's not certain. He's confused. He said the president may have had information right that the man was not guilty. So,
No, no. Let me not. Don't put words in my mouth.
okay, go ahead.
He may have already had on his desk
Right.
investigational report. Because mind you now, when President Barker suspends you, subsequently let you go, it doesn't just leave the gap open. People are investigating, they are ascertaining the facts, and those people are assigned to report to him. He already had his own details. So he wasn't trying by any means to change the jury's mind. If he did, many other people would have won their cases in court, because when you go to Class Reloaded and other places, those guys were already charged with a crime. That's not how it works. In as much jury can be tampered with, but this particular thing is just politics that you guys want to preach. And knowing Keke, he's not even going to respond to any of you.
So the question I got for you,
Mame, he refused. He refused to bridge the gap between the Solicitor General, the Justice Ministry. They all work for the executive, work for Joseph Boakai. They are persecuting the case, and the president, for which they work, the president said the man is not guilty. So
The president did not say that.
the president said it by his information, by his body language, by his actions.
And that's why the man was acquitted. Is that what you're saying?
We said it definitely could be. Yeah, go ahead, Mame.
so what you did not, I just want to ask one question to you. Was it an appropriate, maybe I don't know whether you know about law enforcement or about law procedures. Do you know whether or not it was an appropriate thing for the president to have done while the case was going through investigation or while they were going through prosecution, for him to have given that guy that accolade pending his verdict? Was it an appropriate action on the part of the president?
So Joseph Boakai got national security advisors. He got legal advisors in Bujube Keita. I'm answering your question. I'm answering your question. Just calm down. I'm answering your question. So if he did that, bridging any security protocol or any legal protocol, his advisors would not have allowed him to do it in the first place.
Okay. So what he did was appropriate. So don't wait for
what he did was
everything he did was appropriate. But
what he did was within his purview.
Okay, so thank you. Let me just make that claim. The executive of the Republic of Liberia, who enforces law, and those who enforce law under the executive branch are his surrogates, are his stooges. If the chief commander-in-chief goes and says, while a case is in court, and goes and says something in favor of the person that is being prosecuted, that is tipping the scale of justice. Okay? That's law enforcement 101.
I think you're wrong.
No, I'm not wrong. Just give me a chance. The president is not supposed to even comment on cases that's before the court.
But he did not.
Give me a chance. That's what I'm saying. That's how law he's not supposed to go. He's not even supposed to comment on cases for the appearance.
But he didn't.
Listen, let him learn.
He did more than that. He did more than that. Because just by commenting would have compromised the case. But he did not even comment. He gave an accolade to a person under investigation. He presented a man as what? A man of integrity while the man was undergoing an investigation, while the man is being prosecuted, while the jury was sequestered, while we were waiting for them to come and give him a verdict. That is not how justice is. The system is supposed to work.
Mame, I got a question for you.
Yeah, you can wait till I finish, then you ask me my question. So I'm saying, according to our jurisprudence, the president is not supposed to comment on that case. Neither is he supposed to go and give accolade to an individual who has been accused for a crime or for corruption and undergoing investigation. And before the verdict, he comes and gives this man an accolade. That was tampering with the jurisprudence. That was tampering with the integrity of the case. That was tampering with the justice system. That is not supposed to happen. He was wrong. And that is the reason why we say he's inept, he's incapable of being the president or the commander-in-chief of this country, because he doesn't know what he's
Okay,
doing.
that one I just plain talking now. Let me ask my question,
Yeah,
my man.
so that's the reason why we have to get rid of these kind of people. Go ahead and ask your question.
Men of integrity. I want to ask you a simple question, Mr. Gimmick can jump in here. Do men of integrity be convicted and sent to prison?
You say what?
Have it ever happened before? A man of integrity or men of integrity, from your understanding, your experience, have any men of integrity been convicted before in a court of law and sent to jail?
That question, I will give it two answers. Number one, a man of integrity has never been convicted where the president, before the verdict, comes and gives him the accolade. After, if there was no tampering of the presidency, yes, men of integrity that they did not have the tips of justice weighed in their favor, went to court, and because they crossed the line of integrity and went into to impropriety, yes, some of them got convicted. But not in a case where the president or the commander in chief went and tipped the scale of justice in his favor.
Okay, you only repeating. You only repeating the same one.
People are waited for the man to go through the case, be convicted afterwards, and then maybe he got the power to pardon him.
Mr. No, he's saying the same thing, or
the president who have waited after his case and go and gain all the dignity and accolades he deserves or he wants to give him. But now while the case is in court, it is wrong. It is plain wrong. You don't do that. And that's the reason why people don't know what they're doing. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Gilman, Julius Malema and Rosetta was found guilty and sentenced to 5 years imprisonment. He's actually appealing that decision. Julius Malema is known around the world to be a man of integrity, a man who's steadfast. And it has happened to a lot of people, and I think once it even happened in the case of the man who recently just died. How you call him, Dr. Jackson? So what we're telling you here is what the president did not in any way have anything to do with the case. The president did not discuss the case.
Why was he in a hurry? Why was he in a hurry?
Yeah, I'm coming. The president did not give his.
Why he couldn't wait for the case to be over?
Well, maybe you would have waited. Maybe I would have waited. That's not what he wanted to do. What we are saying is he did nothing legally wrong. That's what we are saying. We're not saying what we wanted him to do, what we thought he should do. We are saying that what he did was totally within his purview. Did he discuss the case? No. Did he give his view and opinion on the case? No. Did he disparage the judge and the jurist? No. Nothing of what he did mentioned or included the case. He was speaking directly based on his experience with this man outside the case. If you believe that President Baka tampered with the case, this is one of the problems I have with you. The Kenyan would test the law. The Ghanaian would test their law. You people don't do any of those things, you just talk. If you believe that the president tampered with a case, go to court. Can you do that?
All right. So you want me to go to court?
Go ahead before we move to the next topic.
A president who has micromanaged the executive, he also micromanaged, he changed the speaker. He also went to the Supreme Court and appointed his stooge as the Supreme Court justice. The court is 2029. Yeah, the court is 2029. Will decide in 2029. That particular court case will be will be coming in 2029. Thank you.
Great, guys. Japan just scored again and 2-2 on the 90th minute. Wow, what a game. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we got one more. Let me make a big announcement here. Coming this fall, I am launching a new program called The Diplomat. The Diplomat is a platform that will deal with diplomatic issues, will be mostly about international and issues in Washington, D.C. and other nations' capital. So the platform is being worked on. It is called The Diplomat. You may have had some links sent to you, inform you that there is a search thing called a diplomat, and this fall is going to be launched. We're going to be going from different countries, from different capitals, from different states, doing special events, documentary. We will delve into Liberian politics at a minimum, but this is going to be more academic. It's going to be more diplomatic, going to be more political at a higher level. We're going to be doing events in conjunction with major universities around the country. So stay tuned, get involved. If you can be of some help in some way, it's going to be highly diplomatic, highly academic, and highly political, but at a different level. It is not going to be about Liberian politics. My experience and my livelihood have always been, my entire life has been in American politics on both sides of the aisle. So it's about time for me to use that leverage to bring some form of education, enlightenment to our space. Secondly, I was, like I was nominated by the great PLO to serve on the opposition bloc of Honorable Venetia Mandolin. He is now the leading candidate in what we call, I won't call the country name, but yes, we are about to go to election there, and it is getting very serious. 30 persons got killed in the last 30 days. That's how vicious it is in Africa. But the country is called Mozambique. Madeline is running, and actually the Gone election, he won the election was stolen from him. So he went into, they ran him into exile, he returned, and he came back stronger than ever. So I was asked to serve on his team, and I gladly accepted. We are working on that team. We are bringing all of this to bear on this platform called The Diplomat. So we're going to have everybody involved. It's not going to be the Liberian thing now. I mean, we're going to do some Liberian talk, but it's going to be international. So watch out for the Diplomat. It's coming out this fall. Yeah, but let's go to our last topic here so we can all go to our game. This was unusual. Diplomats usually in a nation where people speak their mind, a country that is free, that is democratic, everybody has the right to an opinion, including diplomats, as evidenced by the former ambassador of Liberia, McCarthy. He was all over the place. Says it, I see it. The U.S. ambassador, the EU ambassador went to Liberia and said it was one of the dirtiest cities you've ever been in. You saw all this. Nobody said anything. This year, the EU ambassador said that this government is the most basically undemocratic, opaque.
It didn't say that though.
They said it's the most opaque. Opaque means it's not transparent.
Okay.
You can't see you can't see through it, and more other things. And then she gave an example. It is a diplomatic norm that countries that donate to you, that take on major projects, they are giving credit at the nation's address, which the government didn't do. They listed tons of things that this government had failed. The government mouthpiece came and said, yes, they didn't do that. He said, but the sonar is basically a snapshot of the government and the president speaking to his nation. So here we are. The Liberian government, it looks like this ambassador got under their skin as the preacher in Nigeria. They don't write again. They wrote the EU to recall the ambassador for derogatory remarks against President Boyka and his government. Mame,
Yeah.
Liberia, or this particular government is becoming known for being intolerant,
That's the word you
for
need.
being undemocratic, for infringing on the rights not only of its citizens, but want to actually transport their ideology across the Atlantic. Your take?
My take is the ambassador was right. This is not politics. This is how every government, besides the Liberian government, views the Joseph Boakai presidency. And that criticism also came, look, this government is intolerant to criticism. You can see it. What happened to uh, Prophet Key did not happen under George Weah. He criticized the George Weah government. He criticized the man to the point where he went after the man's mind. Oh, he still remained Liberia as a peaceful citizen. Go to Yeke. What happened when he criticized the government? They put him out of his office. What happened when the Nigerian pastor criticized the government or his prophecy? His, whatever he saw, nobody saw it. That he and God were there. I was not there. He came and said it to us. What they did to him, they went after him. The EU ambassador, when he said the government is opaque or lack of transparency or lack transparency, what did they do? They said they should remove the man. Are there anybody to say something? Even the boy called Matthew Nyamplu, that one of their ministers, my younger brother, I can call him my younger brother because we know where we came from. Every single person, including their own, that said something that was minor, just a minor criticism against this government will meet the stiffest resistance. What happened to ANC leader when he criticized the government? They went after him, they insulted him, including the PR, Jeremy PR, and Sando. So you have seen this is a pattern of this government. Intolerance, incompetence. The man who is afraid of criticism is a man who is incompetent and he is afraid that anytime you point to his incompetence, you expose him to public criticism. This is the pattern of this government. The EU ambassador was right, but hey, the American, I dare them to try to the American ambassador. Why they didn't do it to the American ambassador? Because the American ambassador also criticized not only this government but past government. Most of the State Department reports is damaging against the Liberian government. So why don't they go after the American ambassador? Liberians have been critical of other governments. Just few days, look at Louis Brown. He criticized some things that are happening in the Middle East. He criticized Russia. Other Liberian ambassadors criticize other governments all over the world for human rights violations. They speak their mind, they speak their view, they give their opinions about what is obtaining in other countries against other countries. But hey, when Liberia, one of the oldest independent countries in Africa, that claim to be democratic, under Joseph Boakai, when they receive anything like a criticism, they will go in full knee-jerk reaction. They will go after individuals. They will go after public officials. They will go after government. They will even go after KK Door, when they are criticized. That is the highest level of incompetence and intolerance I've ever experienced in my lifetime since I've been watching the Liberian government come and go. And it has to stop. It has to stop because it's making the government unpopular. These things that people are saying is not, they are facts. If you say the government is not opaque, tell me how long it took us to know what was obtaining in FOIA. Up to now, we don't even know what is actually, they have not come up with the actual investigation to tell us what happened at the Guinean border. What was the actual cause of that conflict that happened at the Guinean border? Do we know what's happening at the Guinean border while the Guinean soldiers are still in Liberia? Do we know what is the actual figure of how much they are spending in FOIA to build that place and who is actually for? Do we know how long it takes? There are a lot of things that I can name. I don't have the time. But it is true that the government is very opaque and they are doing that for a reason because they came to steal, they're taking advantage of Joseph Boakai. This will be the only government under which they will really steal to the point. GOL, the meaning of GOL, government of looters. They will loot because this will be the last opportunity for them to really loot under a president who is not paying attention to anything. So, I mean, the man was right. They just went after that man for no reason. But we'll see more. I can promise, I can predict that we'll see more of this criticism and more of their reckless action against people who will criticize them. But it will stop. There will be an end to it. The day of reckoning is coming. Thank you.
Chief, Aliu Kamara, this is, I don't know if the if the Liberian government want to be fighting on every front, uh, how does this work? It doesn't look good for a person that represents almost 30 countries to say, based on their observation and dealing with the government, you are you are not accountable, you are not transparent. Everything about your government is opaque. You are not open to your own people. Uh, it doesn't look good for people who said the international image of the country was the number one priority.
Okay, Mr. Gilman, thank you for the question. What a man named Professor King never ever went to Liberia during the George Weah regime because he knew his life would have been at risk. Like the auditors, all four of them, that were killed under mysterious circumstances.
We are
Uh,
talking about we talk
well,
about
but
the
answering my question, the man went the man went to
no,
Bomia and came back.
no, I will not allow you to
All right.
meander and try to sidestep. We are not talking about the previous government. We're talking about what just happened to
No,
this
yes, it did
government.
happen during Joe Weah time. I'm trying to I'm coming to I'm answering the question. You just don't want me to answer it that way. You want me to answer it your way, but I'm answering the question. Uh, uh, the government of JMB currently will soon be starting their position at the United Nations Security Council for a government that is so undemocratic, so unlaw abiding. The entire Africa rallied behind this government, all on behalf of JNB. The European Union, the World Bank, the IMF, as we speak, in collaboration with the Liberian government, are delegating projects. The World Bank is deeply involved in the hydro at McCoffey hydro plant. We know that in Greenville recently, they are going to light up the city, European Union and the Liberian government, a good collabo. We also know that the Lofa County 20 megawatt electric power plant is also being built by both the Liberian government and the European Union, regardless of what. They will soon be delegating that to the public as well. Recently, the World Bank and the Liberian government dedicated the solar farm, recent solar farm in the Monserrate County area. We know that the Qatar fund for the road to Lofa was released to JMB, thereby completing that road from Banga to Saraye. That road has been completed through our international partners. So the international partners in Liberia have absolutely no issue. Now let's talk about this thing that you coming up with, that I consider mumbo jumbo. A, a ambassador of the European Union, according to the Liberian government, went above her bind. Unless you want to tell me that only us on this platform know about Liberian foreign policy better than the foreign ministry and the president himself. However, I think the information has been twisted to say because she said something about her pay. The reason why the Liberian government took her back was because she was privately having conversations with potential investors who wanted to invest in Liberia, and she was actually discouraging them. That is a bad behavior, and no diplomat should engage in such a behavior. It is not her responsibility to negotiate trade and commerce for Liberia. That is above her pedigree. And so the decision of the Liberian government, based on mere opinion, general opinion that everybody flare everywhere, it was because she was going deep. The Liberian government is already working hard and is struggling with the issue of job provision. Then you have one skinny white lady in the country discouraging investors to come to the country. What do you expect the
That's
government to do?
misogynistic. That's misogynistic. You need to take that back.
So what will you expect the government to do? The government will stand strong and push such a person out of the country and so that they can continue their agenda. One of the government's major agenda is job. And anybody who messes with that will be kicked out of the country.
Yeah, I
Ladies
would just
and
like. Yeah,
yeah,
I would just like. Yeah, I would just like to say that was misogynistic.
That's your business.
You
Go
cannot,
ahead.
yeah, say
That's your choice.
you can hear,
You can
can you
use
hear
any
me?
word you want. That's your choice of
Go
word.
Yeah, you
ahead,
cannot, yeah, you cannot sit on a platform. I
That
will
is
not.
that is your choice of
Yeah,
word. You
yeah,
can
yeah. I
call it
agree. Let me learn now.
misogynistic. You call it nonsense. You call it
Yeah,
whatever.
you cannot sit on the
I don't
platform.
care about what you
Ali,
think.
you have said your. Let him say his.
No, you're
Yeah, let
not
me say
saying
mine.
his. You're not
No,
saying
And I'm
his.
gonna, and I'm
You
gonna,
want to
and I'm
quote.
gonna
You
go
want
after
to
you.
quote poem. You want to. Why if I say a skinny man, you will say, well, how will you call it?
Yeah,
but
when you say
listen.
a skinny white lady, you go in a different
Suppose I say a
territory.
skinny white man, what will you say?
It,
That I'm
it,
saying
you
it's
said
inappropriate.
Yeah, I'm saying what
yeah,
I want to say. If you can't say what I want to
no,
say,
but
Yeah,
then you
okay,
say
no
your
problem.
own.
Go ahead. You,
Don't score unnecessary point on
Aliu,
me.
no,
You
Aliu,
know, you're not going to play that game
Aliu,
on me. Instead of sticking to your point, you
Aliu,
want to call it.
I will take.
listen, Aliu, you be inconsistent. You said the woman was speaking, okay, not in line with her.
Now you're attacking the issue. That's
Listen,
what I want. Remember, I'm not going to play
listen.
game on me here.
No, you are saying, listen, you are
Mhm.
saying the woman was not, she was speaking out of line, not consistent with her diplomatic protocol. Now you are speaking out of line according to the protocol of our platform. Now
Yeah.
we don't use words that people will consider to
So,
be.
tell me, skinny white woman, what's misogynistic about that?
Why would you say a skinny woman when she has a
Okay,
name for a title?
Give me. Tell me
Yeah.
what
So
I'm just
misogynistic
telling you,
about a skinny white
why
woman.
why why
yeah. So
why wouldn't you address?
No, you're not answering the
Listen,
question.
listen,
The reason why you're bypassing
listen,
the question is because
listen.
he's trying to make issue out of nothing because
Oh, listen,
he want to
listen.
give fame from
Why
people
you
that are watching.
why you don't want to listen to the? Why wouldn't you address the president of the Republic of Liberia as President Joseph Boyga? Why would you call him that bald head man?
But why does he call President
No,
Butler
I'm asking you.
incompetent in this,
No,
in that, and that,
oh
and the other?
yes,
These are all his
that's his
views.
that's his opinion.
I don't attack
That's his
unnecessary things. I go to the issue.
that's
The
his
issue here
opinion
is we're talking
on the.
about the government kicking a lady out of the country. Don't tell me
You see,
don't tell me what is
all
misogynistic.
right. Let me.
I don't want to hear that.
Liberia didn't keep the woman out of the country, so don't go
They
there.
wrote to get her out. Where is she now? She's not there.
Yeah, they asked that should be recalled.
Yeah, and she's not
They,
there.
they
That's
didn't
the
kick her
topic
out.
here.
They didn't kick
Not
her.
to pick on something to
Do
give
you have
them.
do you have proof that she have left? That she have
She's
been
not.
recalled?
Well, she's not in the country. She hasn't been in the country for
How
a
do you
while.
know? How do you know all
Because
the skinny
I was told that.
all the skinny white women in the country? How you know which one is that? Mama, your is
Yeah,
after
so
six
you have
your
this
cruising.
you have this extra labor. You can't say anything without them trying to put you
I,
under the bus for
I,
something.
All right. So first of
listen,
all,
mommy want me to.
I have no misogynistic inklings. You
Okay,
talk to my wife, she'll tell you that. Don't
okay.
score point on me. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay. Ali Kamara, we pass our time. You're closing, so we can get out of here and go watch our game.
No,
And
that he
get
the
ready
one
for 44.
that he time to talk.
yeah, it's my time to talk. So I will.
Let you define misogyny now because
Mommy, he's afraid. You go to school, he say you want to try
no,
Yeah, he just think about
I want to
all the
debunk
pussyfooting he
anything you come
doing,
at me with.
Yeah.
all the gallivanting he doing. He just think that I will save him today. No, he's not going to save you. That particular thing was argumentum ad hominem. It was a misogynistic. You should stop it. When you want to describe somebody that you don't know, say I don't know her name, but don't say skinny white lady. Nobody does it to a black woman and go with impunity. Somebody say a skinny black woman, they will go after them. And I would ask you to stop. As an intellectual, it is intellectually irresponsible to look at a person and describe them like that. That's wrong. Okay, so let's go back to the issue. America, when you ask America for a report on, in fact, the ambassador will tell you, in fact, they can give certain alerts on Liberia. This country is not safe for you to do business. This country is not safe for you to travel. And all of those different reports, they can give it on Liberia and the ambassador can read them. Why don't they take the American ambassador and send him back home? They say, because your report did not reflect what we think about our government. He stays in the country. They are derogatory. They are damaging reports. Go read the human rights report. Go read the State Department report. Most of it, they will be damaging against the Liberian government, criticizing the Liberian government, derogatory. But they said the Omo statement was derogatory. Don't you think the thing that the American ambassador can write in the State Department report can discourage investors from coming to the country? Also, under the European Union ambassador, because she's a quote skinny white woman, so you decided to take action against her. But when a white man from America, you ain't able to do anything to them. This thing is a double standard. You're scared, and the reason why you did that is because you're paranoid. Everybody is an enemy. You're fighting everybody. But we'll come back to bio. But what I can say is the European Union is not a small place. the truth that the woman said is going to come to light. Everybody will see it, and we just start chasing everybody. You can't chase everybody. You can do it to one person at a time, but at the end of the day, you can't do it to everybody. You guys have to change course. That's what I would suggest. Start to be more transparent. Try to give credit to where credit is due. Say, oh, this person started this project and I'm completing it. Or this person gave me funding. I'm helping to complete this project. Don't just make it look like you alone doing it. It's not appropriate. It's not right. And that's what the woman was speaking to. And until you can stop, they will continue to receive criticism. And you can go ahead and attack everybody and run after everybody. But at the end of the day of reckoning will still come. I don't know if this could be my closing, but if this is my closing, let me
Go
let me let you
Go
let me
ahead.
let you close. No, let you go ahead close.
All right, let me close. No problem. I seen that woman before. That lady is a skinny white lady. Let's stand
Okay.
by that. Okay. So you can define it the way you want to define it now. Lecture yourself. Anyway, look, I want to give kudos to the JMB administration for a job well done. The road project in the country is explosive. Vonjama on the common highway is actually ongoing right now as we speak. The project from Southtown to Barclayville is on as we speak. The road from Monrovia to Bowaterside is on as we speak. I want to thank the Minister of Health, Madame Apoto, brilliant lady who is doing a wonderful job trying to transform the health sector of Liberia, and the evidences to prove. I want to also thank the Commerce Minister for making a U-turn after being warned. Currently, she's catching updated meat and all kinds of stuff in the country, and they're about to dispose them. I'm talking about containers. So people are really working. So look, Mr. Gilman, it's been a wonderful show. Mr. Gilman is a short black man. I don't know what anybody would say about that, but that's a fact. He's a short black man. Jerome Gilman is a short black man. So I know that would not be insulting because he's black. You can't do it to a white person. Anyway, so it's been a wonderful show, Mr. Gilman. Thanks for having me. The LDA, the the police, the immigration, everybody's doing a wonderful job. Thank you for having me.
Mommy, before you go, there was a philosopher over here who said, government had to defend. Go ahead, you're close.
Yeah, you see, it's very difficult to defend evil. That's what I would say. Very difficult to defend evil. You can see him fighting to look for things that will make the government to look good. My brother, we got the 19 million drug incident that we're still trying to find who actually brought the drug in the country. We got a border between Liberia and Guinea, Solomba, where we still got a Guinean sitting down and we don't know when they will leave. Joseph Baga and his nephew, they were trying to do illicit mining and the investigation has not produced any results. We still have jobless and hopeless Liberians, youth that are flooding the streets and drugs is killing them. We continue to experience the fact that the port is not making any report to the national budget. With SMEs, small medium enterprises, the government agencies that are responsible to provide support to the government, taking the money is the president and his cabinet. Pepper Bush. Yeah, so those are the things that are suffering the country. Those are the reason why the price of gas continue to remain high. We cannot produce our own food. These are the things that are suffering the Liberian people, and we will have to reckon with reality in 2029. So, Mr. Gaiman, I think he escaped because he doesn't want to face reality. He was it was intellectually irresponsible for him to refer to a white woman. Just because a white woman doesn't mean I should sit down here and allow him to be misogynistic. I will not allow any white man to sit on this platform and say a skinny black lady, I will go after him. Equally so, if a black man sits here and say a skinny white lady who he knows is her name, even if he doesn't know her name, he knows her title, can say the ambassador, the EU ambassador, But that's how the arrogance of these people are exhibited. But I will go after the issue about the drug. We have to fight this drug as a unit on a united front. We all have to put our political differences aside and make sure that we confront the drug issue. With respect to the EU ambassador, she was right. Everything that's happening is opaque, and and we ourselves in the country, we are witness and test. We are witnesses and we can testify to it. And so we have to do better. Liberia has to do better. The government has to do better. But from the look of things, after 3 years, I have realized that this government is not going to do any better. It's just going to get worse. And we can't wait for 2029 to put them out of power. Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me go to the latest news from Europe. It says official stance of the European Union. The Liberia requested the ambassador to be recalled immediately for consultation and that a replacement be named. As of the latest development today, neither the European Union nor the ambassador have publicly responded to Liberia. So they just, so far, it looks like the country. So Mr. Kamara that says the woman is no longer in the country, I don't know where you get your information from, but the information I'm getting here says that the European Union has not even replied or acknowledged anything. So that's what it is. And ladies and gentlemen, let that be fooled. There is nowhere in the world where criminals of that stature, of that magnitude, drug of that magnitude, that group of people will be arrested. Like my earlier used to say, the least you can do if your judicial system is under stress is to at least publicly shame them. So you know they are guilty. But because of your weak judicial system, it may most likely work. But at least I will find them guilty in the court of public opinion. Somebody brought the drug into the country. Somebody packaged the drugs. Not only was it packaged, but they were packaged as diplomatic packages to not be inspected, to be put on Air Brussels headed for London or England. This is not something that was done by an ordinary person. It has to be done at the highest level. The country's only international airport has a warehousing capacity. Everything has to be checked in. From the document has from home to home, where the destination, all that information should be available. Somebody is the receiving agent. Who was on shift, who was on duty, who were there, where are the CCTV cameras? This tells you, just as the young lady that was raped, allegedly raped by the deputy minister for sports. When the police went, they said the CCTV camera has broken down, it wasn't working. So there were no images. Just within the time that the lady had accused the person. So this is what we are talking about. As long as we keep saying, I will say this before I close. When Tip O'Neill was being asked, when he was Speaker of the House in Boston, the reporter asked him, is this Speaker? The approval of the U.S. Congress is 8%, but your approval rating is almost 98% in your district. He says, because everybody likes their own crooks. This is what Kamara is doing here. Kamara likes his own crooks. Knowing that this drug thing, it is glaring. He decided to talk about roads that are in progress, things that will be done. We are in the third year, and the road to Manakoma that we talked about 4 years ago is still in progress. The road to the southeast, we've been talking about that road since 1950, is still in progress. Everything is still in progress. So ladies and gentlemen, that's why I thank you very much for tuning in, taking time off from your beautiful soccer matches. But in the next 45 minutes, the Côte d'Ivoire, the elephant will be rolling in time. Please stay tuned and cheer our boys on. Until then, we'll see you next week, same time. Mommy, thank you very much for tuning in.
Thank you very much, and God bless you too.
Yes, and let me go to our song that says, no matter what Ali say, you can call all the names you want. We are all Liberian. That's what the people say.
Mm-hmm.
We are all Liberian, yeah? So here we go.
We are Liberian. Liberia is our